Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we are back with another episode of the Patch Notes, folks. It's that time of year again and we are going to get this party started. So, you guys know these tend to be longer videos, so if you guys want to get something to drink, get something to snack on while I read you guys the Patch Notes in their entirety and our Ministry of Balance article. So yeah, a lot to go over today, so let's get in. Maintenance times. Xbox, September 9th from 2 to 5 a.m. Central Time, 7 to 10 a.m. UTC. PlayStation is the same. iOS and Android is the same. So everybody gets updated at the same time. I don't know why they put these on here as different times if they're all going to get updated at the same time. But what do I know? The update size for the Xbox One S and X, 4,400 megabytes. For the Xbox Series S and X, 4,400 megabytes. For the PS4, 4,500 megabytes. For the PlayStation 5, 1,720 megabytes. For the iOS and Android, both will get a 1,000 megabyte update and then a 2,300 megabyte internal update once you log into the game, or try to log into the game. For the September update, Breeze of Inspiration. Ahoy, Captains! Autumn is settling in, which means it's time for a fresh update in World of Warships Legends. As always, we've prepared a special gift for you. Use the code S72T82U4G at wowslegends.com/code-redeemer to replenish your supplies with 1 Big Fall crate, 6 European camouflages, and 6 common battle boosters. To kick things off, here's a quick list of what you can expect in the new update. Tempest of Renaissance campaign featuring Italian Tier 8 premium cruiser Michelangelo. Finally, an Italian ship I can pronounce correctly. Well, technically, Spartan, it's Michelangelo. Stop it! Early access! Let me have this. Early access to a new branch of Pan-European destroyers. Again? A new branch? Are these going to be like torpedo boat destroyers? I don't know. We'll find out. New collection, European navies. The Azure Lane collaboration returns. Fantastic. Because we can't go a single update without having some new freaking anime commanders. Maybe it's not a new commanders. Maybe it's just them bringing back older commanders in case you guys missed them. In which case, Azure Lane commanders are some of the strongest out there. Well, at least until the Blue Archive commanders showed up, and then they kind of took over in some of the areas, but you get what I'm saying. Usually the Azure Lane commanders have some pretty good ones. Mid-Autumn Festival. The new Brawl and Ranked Battle Seasons. New special pre-Halloween mission. Changes to flooding mechanics. Oh, now that could be interesting. Are we going to finally get overpins causing floods? Everybody said that they wanted this, and then they're going to find out that now they hate it even more. Imagine all those times that you punch a freaking hole in somebody's ship, only to watch them flood to death because they just damaged con to triple fire. Balance changes and various improvements. Flooding has always been absolutely catastrophic, so we'll see how this changes. Maybe they're just reducing flooding impact on the battle. We'll see. Tempest of Renaissance campaign. The spotlight of this campaign is the new Italian Tier 8 premium cruiser, the Michelangelo. Equipped with powerful long-range secondary guns and SAP shells, she delivers impressive damage and offers a fun and unique gameplay experience. As usual, the campaign features 100 milestones spread over 5 weeks, with the catch-up mechanic available. Check out the full list of rewards you can earn by completing the campaign with both with and without Admiralty backing. Without wait, it doesn't. Oh, yeah. Sorry. I was like, wait, they didn't do it? No, it's right here. Without Admiralty backing, you get all of this. I can't highlight it. Oh, I hate it. I used to highlight all this stuff. But they change everything, so I'm not allowed to do that anymore. It's annoying. But you get all of this, right? Worth 14,228 doubloons worth of in-game stuff. And with Admiralty backing, you get all of that, plus you get all of this, including, if you finish the campaign, the Tier 8 Premium Cruiser Michelangelo. And her sister ships, Donatello, Raphael, and Leonardo. Just kidding. That's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles joke. You young folks probably don't know. New Pan-European destroyers in early access. Meet the new Tech Tree line of Pan-European destroyers, available in early access from September 9th through October 14th. The Tier 4, oh my god. Moivanet. That's the best I'm going. Tier 5 Stored. Okay, that's pretty straightforward. Tier 6 Grom. And the Tier 7 Split. Okay, why is it only the Tier 4 that's obnoxious? Is it Moivanet? I don't know. Is this a French word? Kind of looks like it could be. Ends with ET. Could be French. I don't know. But good lord. Anyway, each of these fast and agile ships is equipped with powerful main guns that fire HE shells. Yay. Along with smoke generators. Okay, so there's a change. And an engine boost. So these are going to be more Friesland-esque then, I'm guessing. So the other Pan-Euro destroyers have been like no smoke screen, torpedoes are fast, but they don't really hit that hard. These are going to be more gunboat-oriented, guessing. Split also features radar. So we're getting another radar destroyer at Tier 7, which is interesting. So that's interesting. You can obtain the new destroyers from the Pan-European destroyer crates and the Pan-European. They put a period here and it's screwing with my head. I know that they abbreviated, but still, it's that period's throwing me off. Pan-European big destroyer crates, which will be available through the Tempest and Renaissance campaign or in the store during this update. We also have a few, and just as a caveat, by now you guys should all know, but there's a lot of folks that are just joining the game. If you do not get these destroyers in these crates, okay, don't be worried about it. In the next update, these ships will be brought in as Tech Tree ships. You do not have to spend money to get these destroyers. You can wait until the next update, and they will be added to the Tech Tree, and you can research them that way. Okay, just so that you guys know. I know a lot of people get suckered into buying crates and stuff to get these ships when they're literally going to be Tech Tree. So just throwing that out there. But anyway, we also have a few other things prepared to help celebrate the arrival of the new destroyers. First of all, during this update, Pan-European Tier 7 Destroyer Friesland will be available for doubloons at a good discount. And if you've never played the Friesland, Friesland is fantastic. Friesland and Lushun came in at the same time. Or wait, is it Lushun? What was the other? I think it was Lushun. Yeah, I think it was. But either way, there were two destroyers that came in at the same time. Both of them were fantastic. You had to choose one or the other. Now they're bringing in the others for you to buy with doubloons if you want. They've done this a couple times. Friesland is fantastic. It's a fun little gunboat destroyer. It doesn't have torpedoes, but if you learn how to use it correctly, it is a fun little ship and can be an absolute obnoxious little turd waffle in the right circumstances. But anyway, you can purchase her together with early access crates. On console, you can acquire her through the Old World Treasures chained bundles, where each consecutive bundle becomes available after you obtain the previous one. In addition to the Friesland, which you'll find in the final bundle, the consecutive bundle also contains Pan-EU Destroyer crates and European camouflages, all at a discount compared to purchasing them separately. On mobile, Old World Treasures is available as a standard bundle, where you purchase all items at once. We're also offering a 15% discount on Pan-European Tech Tree ships of Tier 4 through Tier 7. This discount will be available from September 9th through September 23rd. European Navies Collection. We've created a new collection of cards depicting the navies and arsenals of nations referred to as Pan-Europe in Legends. This collection also includes cards for the new destroyers available in early access. Obtain European Navies Collection crates to find all 12 collectible cards, divided into 3 sub-collections. These crates can be earned through the Tempest of Renaissance campaign, the European Navies mission, and the Nordic Griffin mission, which also grants you a unique permanent camo for Osterjotland. Completing each sub-collection will earn you a Pan-European Commander crate, insignia, and commendation. Collect all 12 cards to receive the final prize, the new Pan-European Tier 2 Premium Destroyer, Origin. Or would it be Orin? It may be Orin. I think the J may be silent here. Y'all gonna have to let me know. Is it Orin or Origin? Because for me, this is just Origin. But given, like, it'd be like short for Origin, maybe? But no. But the J could be silent, given that it's Pan-Euro. There's a chance this J is silent, in which case it's just the Orin. Let me know. I want to know. Did I get that correct? Azure Lane Collection returns with New Jersey front row center. I think that's New Jersey. No, New Jersey is the one with the, like... No, I don't think it's... I don't know. I'm screwing... don't miss this opportunity to unite... I don't know the Commanders all that well. I know if I see them. Oh, that's Baltimore, dum-dum. Says so right here. That's why I didn't recognize it. Because I don't... Well, I guess I use Azure Lane Baltimore, but I don't use it as often because I usually play Battleships. But anyway, I'm so bad. Somebody's going to roast me for this. I'm sorry I'm not caught up on my Japanese waifu commanders. Anyway, don't miss this opportunity to obtain unique content from all 5 waves of our collaboration. So it is just bringing back the old stuff. It's not anything new. But that will be from September 9th through October 14th. You can also get some of this content for free. Complete the special mission Operation Storm Surge from September 9th through October 14th to earn 5 new Azure Lane crates. Each of these crates has a chance to drop a commander or a ship from any wave of the collaboration. That's actually pretty cool. So this gives a chance for the free-to-play players also to complete this mission. And then you can potentially get something out of the crate. You get 5 crates, 5 chances to get a ship or a commander. Pretty awesome. Most likely you'll just end up with not commanders. Most likely you'll just end up with like camos or boosters of some sort. But what do I know? Mid-Autumn Festival. Celebrate this year's Mid-Autumn Festival with plenty of festive content in the game. Starting September 16th. First, complete the free Moonlit Journey mission to earn multiple rewards, including the Japanese Tier 5 premium battleship, the Mutsu, the Moon Festival flag, and a special patch. Also, visit the store during the Mid-Autumn Festival to discover a wealth of Asian-themed content, including new Pan-Asian Tier 6 premium destroyer, the Fin Yang, which boasts a solid hit points and is equipped with powerful AP and HE shells. For console players, Fin Yang will be available through the series of Colors of the Fall chained bundles, where each consecutive bundle becomes available after you obtain the previous one. So now they're not even like, come on, man. So it used to be, you buy a crate, you have a chance to get the ship. Now they're going, okay, well that's too easy. We're not selling enough crates, so how do we make it more? Okay, now we're going to give you, you're going to have to buy several series of crates, which you can only lock by buying the first series of crates to eventually get to the final prize of getting the ship. I don't know. I don't like it. But what do I know? Anyway, with all items offered at a discount compared to separate purchases. On mobile, the Colors of the Fall bundle will be available as a standard bundle where you purchase all items at one time. And a few more goodies. Get 10% off Pan-Asian Tier 5 through 7 Tech Tree ships from September 23rd through September 30th. And 10% off Japanese Tier 5 through Tier 7 Tech Tree ships from September 30th through October 7th. Brawls and Ranked Battles Seasons. 2 new Brawl Seasons and 3 Ranked Battle Seasons will be available in this update. Brawl Seasons 21 and 22 will take place from September 16th through September 24th. And from September 30th through October 8th, featuring 3v3 battles on Tier 5 and 6 destroyers, respectively. So it's 3v... Oh, wait, that's Brawl. I don't care about Brawls. I was going to say, wait a second, what? No, those Brawls, whatever. Both seasons will have shortened reload and cooldown times for main batteries and consumables, increased ship speed, and disabled torpedoes. Why can't they disable the torpedoes in the 1v1 battles? Like, just seriously, there's no, like, if you really want ranked battles, and I've said this plenty of times, but they have the option to disable torpedoes. Clearly. So why can't they do that for the ranked battles? It's a 1v1 brawl. It should be down to who's the better player, not who brings torpedoes. It's obnoxious. Fix that. I would like to see that in a future ranked battles. As for ranked battles, Season 62 and through 64 will run from September 10th through October 14th, featuring 5v5 battles on Tier 5 through Tier 7 ships. As always, each competitive season will offer a variety of rewards. Prepare for Halloween, special mission, and ×3 first win bonus. Are you ready for Halloween? Gear up by completing the Haunted Waters mission, available starting October 7th to receive 2 Halloween 23 crates and exclusive Halloween camouflages. Also, enjoy your ×3 first win bonus during the last weekend of the update from October 12th through October 14th. Changes to the flooding mechanic. Alright, let's see what this is. We've made adjustments to the flooding mechanics to make them more fun in battle. Similar to fire mechanics, ship hulls are now divided into 2 equal zones. Each zone can only acquire the flooded status once, until the current flooding in that zone stops. Additional torpedo hits will not cause new flooding in an already flooded zone, or extend the current flooding. Oh, that's actually huge. But yeah, okay, fair. If only one part of the ship is flooded, this effect will deal less damage and last for a shorter duration compared to with previous mechanics. Alright, so for those of you who don't know, I believe on PC this has been a thing for a long time, where you could end up having 2 floods, and floods weren't as bad. On Legends, it has always been that if you take a flood, it is like your entire ship is flooding all at the same time, and has been absolutely catastrophic, and has only taken 5 years for them to do something about it. I know, crazy. But I like the idea. We'll see how this plays out. But anything that makes, like, torpedoes less impactful in terms of, because they already are like freaking nuclear tipped torpedoes. God forbid they actually like not cause flooding once in a while, but here we're going to have the ability for us to actually not take as much damage from a single flood, where you take a flood, say, on the bow or on the stern, instead of taking an entire broadside of torpedoes down the side of your ship. So we'll see how this works. But anyway, let's keep going. Depending on the ship's type and characteristics. Here's how these changes will impact damage across different ship types. For destroyers, cruisers, and aircraft carriers, 1 or 2 flooding instances will generally cause less damage than before. For battleships, 1 flooding instance will deal less damage, while 2 flooding instances will cause more damage per second than before. Okay, so this is actually a big deal. So battleship captains, you guys are going to have to start learning to dodge, okay? Start changing what you're doing. Stop taking entire walls of torpedoes, okay? We all do it occasionally. We all get caught once in a while. But if you know what you're doing, you should be able to take 1 or 2 torpedoes in one section of your ship. You shouldn't be taking them all the way down the side of your ship very often, right? Like, very, very seldom do torp boats actually get that good of a strike off, where they catch you while you're like bow tanking somebody, and they just get you from the side without you realizing they were there. But this is saying that if you get flooded in 2 sections of your battleship, it will be more catastrophic than it currently is in the game, according to this. For battleships, 1 flooding instance will deal less damage, so if you take 1 flood on the bow or the stern, you're fine. While 2 flooding instances will cause more damage per second than before, though the duration of the flooding will be reduced by more than half. I'm confused. So it will deal more damage than before, but it will cut the duration in half. So your second flood isn't going to last as long, but you take more damage, and it's so weird. Okay, that's just a weird way to do things. I don't know why they added that to battleships. If you're going to do like the new mechanic or whatever, why not just add the mechanic, test that out, and then if you think it needs changed, then maybe add something to it or adjust the amount of flooding that occurs, whatever you want to do. But this just seems contrived and overly strange. Anyway, if you have 2 flooding instances at the same time, you'll see 2 corresponding icons on the hit point bar. And again, that's something that I believe has been on PC for a long time, or maybe the entire time, I can't remember. I rarely get flooded twice, so it's not something that I normally have to deal with. So even on PC, like, I don't usually get flooded more than once, so it's pretty rare. Or 2 on the flooding icon on mobile. So if you, on console, we'll be able to see 2 separate flooding icons, whereas on mobile, because it's a smaller screen, you're going to get a flooding icon with a number 2 next to it, or on it. Balance changes. This update features several adjustments to various ships. Buffs to the Florida, the Vermont, the Bliskovica B, the Brisbane, the Zuiho, the Independence, Algerie W, Charles Martel, San Luis, Amalfi, and Brindisi. Nerfs to the Azurlane Chapayev, the ship. Well, it's under the ship section, so we'll assume that it is to the ship. Christopher Colombo, thank God. Z-52, has it really been that big of a deal? Like, I haven't played the Z-52 in a while. I know that the Z-52 is a strong ship, don't get me wrong. But I don't know that... Oh, they're nerfing my Duncan! No! Like, I don't care about the rest. The Colombo needed a nerf. Chapayev needed a nerf. At least the Azurlane version of the Chapayev needed a nerf. Z-52, it's strong, but doesn't really need a nerf. I don't know. And then Duncan, I mean, come on, man. That's my baby. That's my only fun tier 8. It's my favorite tier 8. All right? Repub is still my favorite tier 8 because it's nasty. But I'm surprised the Repub's not getting nerfed, but this is. But I'm assuming they're going to nerf the torpedo damage on the Duncan, if I had to guess. Because I think that's about the only thing that it needs. But we'll see what they do to it. We've also made a few changes to commanders. Buffs to Harold B. Farncombe, the Careful base trait, and Shell from the Ghost unique skill have been improved. I don't even know who the f this is. I'll be real honest. This does not ring a bell to me. I have never heard of this commander. Maybe I have, but I don't think I've ever heard of this guy. So let me know what you guys think. I have no idea who the f that is. New Rose 4 skill for Jerzy Swirsky. Fox Flare. Increases the duration of radar to match that of Smoke Generator while the latter is active. And reduces main battery reload time by up to 10% while radar is active. Jesus. That is specific to the new Pan-European destroyers that's got radar. What is it, the Split? I think it was the Split. So, yeah, interesting. We will be going over the Ministry of Balance article afterwards, so just hang out for a minute. Changes to Commander Guises. Oh, please. Below is a list of all the changes we're introducing to Commander Guises in this update. These changes might not seem impactful now, but they are paving the way for even bigger improvements in the future. Stay tuned. Commander Guises can now be applied to all commanders, including those from collaborations. Thank God! Oh my God, we have a way to have some of the commanders that are just obnoxious, aka the waifus, completely overwritten while still maintaining our ability to hear other commanders that aren't as obnoxious. Huh, what a freaking thought. But then again, if we turn that on, that only affects our ship and doesn't affect everybody else's ships when they start spamming chat, so probably still not going to turn it back on. But still, I like the idea, including those from collaborations. However, when applied to a collaboration, the guys will always remain hidden, maintaining the commander's original... God, no! What's the point? Never mind. False alarm. I lied. They deceived us. What's the point of adding a guise to the freaking thing if you're not going to hear the voice, you're not going to see the picture? What is the point? Oh, I get fireworks. I get shell tracers. Like, is that it? That's... Stop it. Get help. You can also... That's hilarious. You can also hide guises applied to non-collaboration commanders if you want to keep their original appearance and voiceover. Oh, okay. Interesting. So if you don't like a specific guy's voiceover, like Popeye, for instance, but you like his tracers and the fireworks, you can now hide the guys, but keep the tracers and stuff. I like that idea. Because some of the guys are kind of annoying, aka Popeye, and mainly Popeye. Note that guises from collaborations cannot be hidden or applied to command. I didn't know that there were guises from collaborations, to be perfectly honest. Guises are now divided into 2 types. National, marked blue, which can only be applied to commanders of specific nations, and general, marked white, which can be applied to any commander. We have also removed the cooldown time for changing commander guises, allowing it to be done instantly. Nice little change. Improvements and bug fixes. For all platforms, we fixed the issue where airstrike torpedo bomber aiming would randomly turn when the ship... Thank God! For all of us out there trying to drop freaking torpedo strikes from our hybrids, and every time we go to set it up, the darn thing, just before you hit the button to fire it, decides it wants to turn 30 degrees the other direction and fuck... I'm sorry, I just cussed. But that's what it does to me, okay? Everybody hates it. But thank God they're fixing it. So thank you. When the ship it was locked onto became... It wasn't even just when it became invisible. It does it all the time. It's visible and still does it. It's so weird. It's like anything it's so weird. I hope that this fixes everything. So that is only because when it becomes invisible. Which will help, but also I hope that it fixes the problem while we're actually aiming while they're still there too. But shooting down airstrike aircraft will now count towards completing mission tasks that involve destroying aircraft. I mean, it should. That would make perfect sense, right? You're shooting aircraft down, why doesn't it count? Especially with the amount of airstrikes that are going on right now with all the hybrids and the Dutch cruisers and stuff. Anyway, the command for activating sonar is now voiced in the appropriate language when the voiceover mode is set to national. Okay, fair. Console. Fixed the ship information panel flashing when switching between ships in the port. Fixed the tech tree ship progress bar displaying as completed when progress is actually only very close to completion. Mobile. Sound settings are now customizable as on console. You can separately control the volume of music in the port and during battles, as well as adjust the overall game volume and commander voiceovers. We fixed the issue where the number of consumable charges was displayed incorrectly in the ship's settings when the slot was shared between different selectable consumables. The error message that appear when content downloads fail are now clear and understandable. You can now see which bonuses each booster provides when selecting it in the ship settings. I mean, that seems pretty important. It's like, oh, well, I'm putting this booster on. What does it do? Nobody knows. Unless, of course, you play the console version, in which case you probably already know what those boosters do. Anyway, captions for quick commands in battle are now correctly displayed in Russian. All right. Well, that is the end of the normal patch notes. Now we get to move over to the Ministry of Balance. So let me make sure that we are on the Ministry of Balance. Here we go. The Ministry of Balance, Season of Change. Welcome to the September edition of the Ministry of Balance. In this edition, we're introducing a range of changes to ships, including both buffs and nerfs, as well as a few improvements to commanders. Let's dive in. I don't like when they say dive in, okay? Dive refers to submarines, and I don't ever want to see subs in the game. That's just me. Ship changes. Buffs to the Florida. The main battery shell grouping increased by 2.9% from a 1.7 to a 1.75 sigma. That is okay, but that is still not good sigma for that thing, which means it's still going to be a goddarn shotgun, which is obnoxious. From main battery dispersion improved by 11%. Okay, that's a bigger improvement. So, for those of you who don't know, if I remember correctly, the grouping is... Okay, so grouping is how close the shells are together. How their tendency to stay closer to one another. Okay? Dispersion is their tendency to fall within a smaller area around the ship. It's an ellipse, okay? Coming from your ship, coming specifically from the gun that they were fired from. So each gun has its own ellipse when it's firing at the ship. It's a whole thing, but dispersion shrinks the area that they can land in, right? Whereas grouping means that the shells are more likely to stay closer to one another. So when you do hit, you tend to hit more shells, whereas with dispersion, you just have a chance to have more, or you have a better chance to hit the thing that you're aiming at. Anyway, AP shell mass increased from 555 kilograms to 580 kilograms, increasing AP shell penetration chance by 4.5%. I don't know how much that's going to affect. We'll have to see. I've never really had a problem with the penetration on the Florida. Like, if I get a chance to use it, I'm generally using the AP anyway. But hey, heavier AP sounds like a good time. Main battery reload time reduced. This is a big one. From 33.5 seconds to 31. And remember, this is the base reduced by 2.5 seconds. So this is actually a pretty big change for the base. Now, again, commanders are going to make that even better. So if you're using, say, Hoshino or Colorado, you're going to have a much better reload than you had before. But anyway, I digress. Next, Vermont. Main battery AP shell damage increased from 14,200 to 15,000, and that is base. Oh my God. Vermont is going to start neutering people. Imagine Vermont with a full damage build. Now, most of us are going to be running Hoshino, but could you imagine if it's 15,000 base and then you stack like Arthas and then the ability for, I mean, you're going to be doing citadels that are like 32,000 plus. That's absurd. Somebody gonna have to sit down and do the actual math of how many it is. I'm pretty sure it's like 10% plus 10% plus 20%. I mean, that's a significant amount. But it should be somewhere in the 32,000 plus mark for a single citadel if you hit all of the boxes. And that's not including like anytime you have the extra damage from having kills during the match from the legendary booster or the legendary module. Like, it could get absurd. But that's base. That is a significant buff to AP shell damage. Does that make it the strongest AP in the game now? Like, from a base standpoint? I bet it does. I don't think anybody has over 15,000. Maybe Yamato, or does Yamato have over 15,000 base? I don't think it does. I could be wrong. I'll have to look. But that's the base. So that's going to get a lot higher. Main battery reload time reduced from 36 to 35. So that's a negligible change at best. But again, I think the update to Hoshino has helped us out a lot with Vermont. Also, the plane spotting going away has helped Vermont quite a bit, in my opinion. I feel like Vermont is in a much better place now and will be even better after the buff. But I don't know if the buff was necessarily needed after the plane spotting and the new commanders. But again, I guess if you don't have the fancy commanders, for the free-to-play players that have the Vermont, I guess this would make sense. But I digress. Błyskawica and the Błyskawica B, aka the Polish Lightning. Main battery reload time reduced from 6.5 to 6 seconds. That is significant. That is not a small buff. I mean, it looks small because it's only half a second, but you got to think it's going from 6.5 to 6 seconds, and then all of the like gunboat perks that you add onto that, that gets pretty absurd. But it needed it. Blizzy's been pretty power crept over the years. Torpedo reload time reduced from 70 to 60 seconds. Torpedo damage increased from 14,400 to 16,200. Torpedo range increased from 8 to 9.5. That's going to be a big change because now it's going to have a little bit more standoff room. And then torpedo speed increased from 57 to 69. Nice. I mean, knots. Anyway, Brisbane. Main battery reload time, it reduced from 5 to 4.5 seconds. That is, again, significant. I think that's the same as Mino now. Torpedo reload time reduced from 131 to 110. That's spicy. That's actually spicy. I mean, it's less than 2 minutes now. Remember, it has 16 torpedoes that reach out and touch people and hurt. Radar duration increased from 22 to 25 seconds. Small buff there. Radar range increased from 10 to 10.5 kilometers. That's a bigger change. That is a long duration radar, and having it out to 10.5 is kind of crazy. Added the smoke generator consumable, which can be used instead of radar. Okay, so now Brisbane's can be a Mino. What's the point of having a Brisbane? Zuiho! I mean, they're the same thing, right? Zuiho, torpedo strike aiming time reduced from 8 to 6.5, so it is going to be able to line up those torps a lot quicker coming out of those turns. Torpedo speed increased from 50 to 55 knots, so it's going to be easier to hit, even though those are still pretty slow. I mean, that's right there with a little bit faster than the Americans, I believe. Independence. The dive bomber maximum flight range, aka the fuel limit, increased from 31 to 32 kilometers. Maximum bomb damage increased from 57 to 5,900, and torpedo strike aiming time reduced from 5.5 to 4.5 seconds. Algerie and Algerie W. Main battery AP shell damage increased from 4,800 to 5,000. The main battery HE shell damage increased from 2,800 to 2,950. Main battery maximum range increased from 13.9 to 14.25. The stock hull rudder shift time reduced from 13.4 to 12. Upgraded hull rudder shift time reduced from 9.5 to 8.5 seconds. The ship maximum speed increased from 31 to 32.5 knots. Charles Martel. This is a buff that's been needed for a while too. Charles Martel and Saint Louis and all of them, they're good ships, but the problem is there's no reason to play them. They're so mediocre compared to a lot of the other choices at the tier. Main battery AP shell damage increased from 4,800 to 5,050. Main battery HE shell damage increased from 2,800 to 2,950. The Saint Louis main battery AP shell damage increased from 4,800 to 5,050. Main battery HE increased from 2,800 to 2,950. The Amalfi stock and upgraded HE main battery reload time reduced from 16 to 14.5 seconds. Upgraded SAP main battery reload time reduced from 17.5 to 16 seconds. Smokescreen duration increased from 20 to 30 seconds. See, I don't understand why they nerfed the reload of the SAP. I'll be honest. I know SAP is strong, but it's not that crazy, right? So I don't understand why they nerfed the reload for the SAP, which is a higher skill ammo type than HE, in my opinion. And you don't have any damage over time. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are down in the comments. And the smokescreen duration increased from 20 to 30 seconds. Brindisi, the main battery shell grouping increased by 4.9% from a 2.05 to a 2.1 sigma, which is already fantastic and gets even better. Now, again, this is for a cruiser, so these numbers are, you know, good for a battleship initially, but probably not as good as most cruisers. These are closer to battleship numbers, which makes sense because it is a supercruiser, if I remember correctly. Stock and upgraded HE main battery reload time reduced from 18 to 16 seconds. Upgraded SAP main battery reload time reduced from 20 to 18 seconds. Smokescreen duration increased from 20 to 30 seconds. The stock hull total health increased from 40 to 43. Nice. I'm not going to go over each section of the ship. You guys can pause it and look at that if you're interested in that. Upgraded hull total increased from 44,800 to 47,400 hit points. Nerfs to the Azure Lane Chapayev. The main battery reload time increased from 8 to 9.2 seconds. The Cristoforo Colombo. Oh, this is a big one. Main battery AP shell damage reduced from 11,000 to 10,250. That is a significant nerf to the main battery damage. Okay, but still nothing crazy. This is the one that's going to hurt it, because this is the thing that the Colombo has just absolutely thrived on, and that is the main battery AP minimum penetration angle and the maximum penetration angle, which have been absurd for a 15-inch gun. But the minimum penetration angle has been reduced from 55 to 50 degrees. Okay, and the main battery AP the maximum penetration angle reduced from 70 to 65 degrees. So it's going to be, you're going to start seeing a lot more ricochets off of ships that are angled with the Colombo, instead of just pinning everything all the time regardless of angle of impact. Like, I'm telling you, dude, Colombo has been cracked for a long time, and this is a big reason why. Because they just pin everything all the time. Upgraded hull total health reduced from 83,000 to 80,000, and that's pretty rough. It already had a lower hit point total than most of the battleships at the tier. Remember, this is a legendary tier battleship. However, it does have smoke. It does have a lot of heals. It has access to a lot of heals. Though so does the Americans now with the special commander. But the Italians have special skills specifically to get them extra heals and stuff. And then on top of that, it also is tankier by sitting lower in the water, and it doesn't have as much health to the superstructure as a lot of others like the Americans, the Germans, and so on and so forth. So it was a lot tankier than it probably should be, but it also, the hit points didn't really matter as much, especially with the get out of jail free cards with the smoke generator. Anyway, the Z52, and again, if you guys want to go over the hit point changes to each individual section, you guys can pause and look at that. The Z52 main battery reload time increased from 3.9 to 4.1, so not a huge change there. Torpedo reload time increased from 85 to 90 seconds. That's a pretty nasty nerf to the torps. Detectability range by sea increased from 6.9 to 7.1. Not a huge change, but it will be noticeable for those of you going in against Shimas. That's about the only thing that you're really... Well, Shimas, Gearings, and Darings, really. They all can have the ability to have like 5 to 5.1 kilometer concealment. So, yeah. Detectability by air increased from 3.4 to 3.5. Detectability by sea while firing in a smoke stream from 2.5 to 2.6 kilometers. Detectability range by air while firing main battery increased from 2.56 to 2.6 kilometers. And sonar range reduced from 5.9 to 5.7 kilometers. Oh no, my Duncan. The Duncan's repair party cooldown time has been increased from 80 to 120. That is a huge nerf. Holy mother of God. So your heals are reduced as well. So the HP reduced from 2% to 1.6 per second. So what this means is you're not going to heal as much, but you're also not going to heal as fast. You're getting a 0.4% per second nerf to the heal of the Duncan, which is pretty significant. And then on top of that, they're adding 40 seconds. 40 seconds to the repair party cooldown, which is ridiculous. That's a huge nerf. Now, I'm glad they didn't touch the dispersion, the torpedo damage, or the AP mechanic. But still, that is a significant amount of staying power that they have hurt with the Duncan. But I'll take it. It's not the end of the world. I was worried that they were going to mess with the dispersion or the AP or anything. But yeah, nerf to the heel. Whatever. Harold B. Farncombe, the base trait Careful. Reduction in ship detectability while firing or after firing main guns, while in a smoke improved from a maximum of 10% to a maximum of 15%. Reduction in main battery reload time improved from a maximum of 2% to a maximum of 3%. The unique skill, Shell from a Ghost, increased the cruiser main battery range and shell grouping, while in smoke improved from a maximum of 4% to a maximum of 5%. And Jersey Swirsky, new row 4th skill, the Fox Flare, increases the duration of radar to match that of smoke generator while the latter is active, and reduces main battery reload time by up to 10% while the radar is active. So this is a pretty interesting trait. I'll see how that works out. Like, radar lasting longer, or as long as your smoke does, is kind of ridiculous. But I don't know what the smoke screen dispersion time is going to be for the radar on that ship. I'm going to assume that it's short. Because that literally makes the radar last as long as the smoke. But that's the end of the changes, so let me know what you guys think. There's a lot going in this update in terms of changes and stuff, so I want to know. What do you guys think? There's a lot of new stuff in terms of overall, like a new tech tree line coming in to test. Are you interested in the Pan-European Destroyer line that's coming out? Let me know. And if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.